Welcome, class. In the last class period, I introduced you to the artist Faith Ringgold, who creates story quilts. So we're using her as an inspiration to finish our artwork today, or excuse me, to get to the next step of our artwork today. We're adding color today. So in the last class period, you got a plain white sheet of paper from the back of the classroom, and you got a thick piece of paper that helped to create your border. Wanted you to line up your piece of paper here and create a line it up, create a line. And if you weren't here in the last class period, I'll have a friend help you go around and do that. Once that's done, write your name in the border, and then this becomes the center of your quilt that you're going to be making, the center of your picture. In here, the idea was to draw any story that you wanted that was real or imaginary. However, when you go to tell a story, your story needs details. So I shared with you the beginning of my idea, and this is not done. This is just one step. I still have more details to add. Sandy beach, water, probably fresh water. I have my son. I'm in some place, it must be ocean because I'm in some place tropical. I've got my floaty, my towel that I want to actually put more decoration on, my beach ball, and then my dog was going to be coming to join me on the beach. So you decide what your story is. Again, it can be real or imaginary, or it can be both, which is often how Faith Ringgold made her drawings. So I'm not done with this, but I'm going to go ahead and start doing coloring, and you're just going to pretend that I'm done with this. So with that, I'm going to start coloring or adding color to all of my small objects. So in here, my small objects would be my tree, my footprints, my towel, my ball, this floating mat, and maybe my sun because it actually is kind of small. But my big areas are going to be my sky, my water, and my beach. I don't mind coloring in big areas with the colored pencil. The problem is that in 40 minutes of art, we don't have enough time. So we're going to just focus on using our smaller tools for our smaller areas. The other thing I want you to focus on today when you're coloring is that you're not allowed to use just one color in these color areas. So right now I'm taking a dark brown and I have a lighter brown in my hand, and I'm going to be coloring on my palm tree over here. Maybe I could even outline it. I could add in a couple more textures into it if I wanted to using my dark brown color. Then I'm going to come back with a lighter color because we also like to do different things in our artwork. And I know that as a third grader, you know how to take a palm tree and color it in one solid color brown. I know that you can do that because you've done it before. What I want to know that you can do is actually use different values in your drawing. So it's normal for an elementary school student to just take one color and then just color in shapes using one color. So the challenge today is you using more than one color. So I have my dark green, I've got my light green, and now I've created a whole new color green. I've created a whole new color brown that other people won't have on their artwork, which makes my artwork more unique and more interesting. And after all, that's the goal, not to do the same thing that everybody else does, but to make their artwork look unique and interesting. I'm going to put some interesting textures in the coconut, and I'm going to use two different colors of brown. I don't want my coconut to match the trunk because it's not the same, so I use two different colors of brown. Now, pretending and fast forwarding that I've got all of my palm tree done, all of my smaller objects done that I already talked about. Some of you might have a ton of smaller objects. You're going to be using the colored pencils a lot. Some of you might only have a few small objects. You might want to think about adding a few more to fully tell your story. But when you're ready to move on from your colored pencils, the next thing I want you to do is create use watercolors to fill in the rest of your areas. Again, sometimes with watercolors, we can use two different colors. So I just got my light blue and my dark blue ready. I'm going to create, I'm going to add in a little purple too. In my sky, I'm going to create a blue color. And then after I get done getting my blue color down, I'm going to add in a little bit of purple because I actually don't want my sky to be the same as the water. Usually the sky isn't the same color, or at least exactly the same color as the water. So I can add in a little purple maybe and make it maybe like a dusk time of day, or maybe just add in a new color. For my ocean, because it is an ocean, I'm going to add in a turquoisey color and maybe even a little bit of green in there to make it even look more tropical. So it's okay if a watercolor goes a little bit over your color pencil areas. Here you can see it because obviously I didn't color that in, and you should have done that before we started. That was the goal. Get all your color pencil done first, then grab your watercolor and do your big areas. Now, can you imagine how long it would have taken for me to color in all of this ocean with a colored pencil, especially using two different colors? That would have taken forever. So this is a great way to finish off something quickly. And it still looks really cool. It looks watery. If you go outside of your border a little bit, it actually doesn't matter. I'd prefer that you go outside of the border more than stopping and not going there, because then it'll look like it's undone. In another class period, what we're going to be doing, sorry about that, in another class period, what we're going to be doing is creating a border. So right now, going over this border area doesn't matter too much. I love adding a little bit of yellow into my beach. It kind of warms up the sand, or then even adding a little bit of orange into the beach. There's one thing I forgot to tell you, friends. When you're using watercolor, we want to make sure that it's not too watery so the color doesn't show, or that it's too dry. We're not looking for this texture. So you noticed when I was doing my painting that I actually had a really wet brush, and these are my watercolor brushes that hold a lot of water. You actually do have to have quite a bit of water down and paint before you get started, because watercolor is really different than tempera paint. So remember that before you get started, all right? Nice juicy brushes. I always say juicy brushes and juicy paints to get that water flowing, to get some nice soft colors rather than having the lines of the brush. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Color pencils, watercolor, go for it. Bye.